Hello and welcome back to Hidden History. I'm Malcolm and I'm here at the Frankenmuth Historical Association, and today we're looking at this framed veil from a wedding. This framed veil was worn actually by this woman here, Barbara Hawk, when she married Johann Wilhelm Lazel in 1893. And now she took the veil and she actually had it framed later in this incredible gilded frame, which I just love because you don't see this very much anymore, do you? A lot of people just take photos and they hang them on the wall. That's good enough. The dress goes in the attic, but she actually chose to frame the whole thing in this lovely gilded frame with this velvet inlay, and I think it's really quite neat. If you zoom in closely here too, you'll notice that all the flowers here are actually fake, which helps preserve the artifact really nicely. Now this was actually donated by her grandson, Bob Lazel, who actually still lives here in Frankenmuth, and he donated it with a whole collection of their items that he had kept over the years. So we're very fortunate to not only have the veil, but we also have a photo of her wearing the veil, which is just so cool from a collection standpoint, because it's always nice to have things that go together that way, right? Now we're all fairly familiar with brides wearing wedding veils, but what you might not be as familiar with is a black wedding dress. You'll notice in her wedding photo here, she's actually wearing a black wedding dress, which was actually pretty common in Europe in the 1800s. Wedding dresses used to come in basically any color you wanted, but black was very popular, especially for rural weddings, because it didn't get as dirty. Imagine that. Now this did change on the continent because Queen Victoria, for her wedding, she wore a white wedding dress in 1840, and then she started adopting black in 1860 as the color of mourning. However, this didn't change for most of the Frankenmuth immigrants, because again, you got to remember that a lot of immigrant communities will bring traditions from their homeland, and those won't change over time as much because they're old traditions as opposed to new ones that are being brought into the new country. So that's why you see a lot of Frankenmuthers who are actually wearing the black wedding dresses as they went on even into the 1900s, believe it or not. One reason I decided to choose these artifacts is because marriage and being able to get married was pretty important to the Frankenmuth settlers that came over here to establish Frankenmuth. The first 15 settlers were very concerned at the fact that they couldn't get married in Germany at the time in 1845. The reason is because Germany had very restrictive marriage laws, including requiring men to own property in order to get married. As such, as soon as they got on the boat, 4 couples actually got married on the ship from Germany all the way over to New York. So you can tell that marriage was an important thing for these settlers and was a motivating factor in terms of moving all the way from Germany to Michigan to establish Frankenmuth in 1845. The reason I wanted to share this artifact with you is because you just don't see things like this anymore. A bridal veil in a shadow box encapsulated for history. I think it's really cool, and it's a really neat way to memorialize and commemorate a very important day in one's life. And we're so lucky that not only was this done, but it was given to their children, and then to their children, and then to a museum. So you really never know where anything's going to end up. Maybe it'll be a museum. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Hidden History. I'm Malcolm, and we'll see you on the next one. And remember that history is worth preserving. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And make sure to click that bell icon to stay notified when we upload new content. Videos like this are only possible because of viewers like you. To help support this channel, click on the link in the description below. We'll see you next time.